What is up, guys? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, coming at you every single week at Wednesday at 8 p.m., going over the market stats, going over the news that you need to know about if you're living in the area, if you're moving to the area, or considering investing in the area, and also answering any questions that you guys may have about our local market. So, as we always do, I want to ask, where are you guys tuning in from? What has you, watching my channel? And are you living here in town? Are you looking to move here? You have any questions? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hop on to the market stats. I think that's probably the most important thing, probably why a lot of people tune in here. So let's go right ahead for it. Actually need to load the market stats up here, guys, because I was looking at other things. Okay, so I actually want to compare this to the market stats that's being reported in the news. Now, I actually found two articles written a couple days between them, and they have conflicting information about St. Johns County. But let's just take a look here, as we always do. We have new listings 179, pending 112. We have 142 closed to that 179 new listings. And we have 63 contingent taking backup. Like I said, contingent taking backup, that's like it's contingent on the inspection, contingent on the appraisal, the mortgage. So a lot of people actually, they go between pending or contingent taking backup. In my mind, they're almost the same thing. Let's bump it back a week. We know we've seen some crazy things this past 2 weeks, really, with the interest rates going up. The news in the world, of course, what's going on. Elon Musk buying Twitter. We got new listings at 1,127, closed at 847. So one thing to also keep in mind, which these news articles, one of them actually mentions this, is that last month's numbers are going to be kind of funky because of Hurricane Ian coming through. Really, that week was pretty much shot because of the storm potential. Though we really didn't get hit hard here, things were still closed for a couple of days just because of everyone trying to figure out what to do. So, and then also in that same case, if you are in a certain box when there is a hurricane approaching, you can't get insurance. So a lot of people, probably not knowing that, had to delay their closing in order to get to their house. And also you couldn't close during that week anyway. I actually had a new construction closing get moved to the next week because it's just what happens. Hurricane comes through. What can you do? So I want to take a look over here because I thought this was a really interesting stat. Well, actually, I think it's a really interesting article because, the news reports one thing and says another. And let's just take a look here. So we're seeing, this is the Jacksonville Business Journal, right? So this is a reputable source of information. And I think this is a great article. Home prices took a small dip in September, according to Northeastern Florida Association of Realtors. That was the data I was just showing you there, guys. So it dipped 2.6%. We are still in a seller's market, but the trend, the NFR president thinks it's going to move towards a more balanced market. With the increase, really the prices coming down are really in direct correlation to the interest rates increasing so quickly. But the main news article, house prices see slight decline here in the Jacksonville area, which is the truth, right? Months of supply rose to 3.4 months. And the one thing I want to highlight here is, so this is the main thing here. In Duval County, the median price of single-family housing was $335,000, a slight drop from August when it was $340,000. Okay, so that's not too crazy. Then look here in St. Johns County. St. Johns County prices rose actually by 1.2%. So that's a pretty interesting statistic there, right? Now, I'm not saying that's going to keep happening. We're looking at things month to month. That's just not a sensible way to look at real estate, guys. Give me 1 second. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? He's bothering me. His mom's not home, so he wants to be in the room. Huh? Go ahead. He likes to go under the bed. Go ahead. Where are you going? But now you don't want to be in here? Come on. Come on. Watch out. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So housing prices see slight decline in Jacksonville area. Right there, you're seeing that they're saying that prices are going down. And I showed you where they said St. Johns County prices actually went up, right? So this article, let me see here. That article that we just went over was written October 12th. Now, let's take a look here. Sorry, I'm gonna share my screen again with you guys. Share my screen here. Bop, bop, bop. St. Augustine area home prices fall 3.6% in September with houses for sale in high demand. Man, that's the weirdest headline I've ever read in my life. It's like conflicting information, right? So this one here is saying that home prices actually went down. So I think what they're actually doing here is they're using the average versus the median. So that's why it's real important to read these things, guys, and make sure that the information that they're trying to get across is the right information, because a lot of times, like I had someone call me from, this is really exciting for me actually. I had someone call me from a news station asking my opinion on what's going on here. And I gave him, like, he was like, oh, there's not a housing crash going on. And I was like, no, there's not. This is like the data. And I gave him all the data. I gave him everything. And he didn't use me in his news story. So I was kind of bummed about that. But it's because it didn't go around with his narrative. So everyone's got a narrative to push. I'm just here interpreting the data, guys. I mean, I've been saying for a long time, I don't think housing prices are going to keep skyrocketing. I mean, that's just not sustainable. We needed to go into a little bit of a correction. So I guess the interest rates are a good thing in a way, but to stabilize things. So I think things are going to go from boom to more like a plateau, which is what historically housing has been. It's never been a get rich quick scheme. So back to normal. But yeah, guys, I see we got a couple people here. Let me know where you're tuning in from, where you're from, what has you watching. Are you living here in town? Are you thinking about moving here? Do you have any questions? Leave them in the comments below. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next news story here, which is in relation to Hurricane Ian. Now, I mentioned they had $38 million in storm damage, which is actually not the case. They actually had $60 million in estimated storm damages. So after Hurricane Ian, St. Johns County estimates almost $60 million for repairs to homes, roads, and infrastructure. Now, in turn with that, I also wanted to highlight there's certain areas within St. Johns County that I'm sure all of you guys have seen on the news. I've had people call me from YouTube asking if I'm okay down here because of all the flooding that they reported on like on the news about St. Augustine and downtown St. Augustine. When you saw downtown St. Augustine, it was under like a foot or two of water. And the one thing is like, if you've lived here for a while, it's kind of normal. Whenever a storm like that comes through, you expect downtown St. Augustine to flood. And so does everyone down there. I know that sounds kind of weird not being from here, but they're prepared. I mean, obviously you can only prepare so much, but they're expecting that kind of thing to happen. They're talking about mitigating in a whole bunch of different ways. But now we're looking here at Davis Shores, and Davis Shores is the same way. So I'm going to leave this news article in the description below if you want to rewatch it or just watch this at all. If you are considering living in Davis Shores, because you'll see when you go into Davis Shores, when you're looking around the house, you'll see almost like they'll put a wainscoting around the entire house or on the first floor. Well, some are only one floor, but they'll put it around the entire house. Sometimes it'll only be maybe a foot or two up from the floor, which is kind of different, right? And then it's like, well, when you rip out the drywall all the time and you have to keep fixing that part, you just leave it the way it is, and you put like T111 in the interior of your house, which is like an exterior siding from the bottom up, just so you don't have to keep replacing the drywall. So that's something that's common that happens in Davis Shores. This article here, this video is the neighbors in Davis Shores are really getting on St. Johns County and the city leaders, to address it, because it's if you watch this video, they're just like, yeah, it's just normal. This is what happens here. So it's part of living near the water, guys. We're all of Florida is in a flood zone. It's and where you're at in a flood zone is the important thing, right? If you're in flood zone X, then you're more than likely not going to flood. Not saying there's not a possibility of a 100-year flood, but definitely a possibility here. Let's see. We got John on New Jersey here checking in and asking for some tax money. Asking for some tax money, huh? I don't follow you, John. I'm sorry. And then we got Debbie here, Debbie Williams Randolph, New Jersey, relocating to St. Augustine summer 2023. Very cool. What has you thinking about moving here, Debbie? Interested in knowing. But let's go back. Guys, if you are tuning in, where you're from, let me know in the comments below. You got any questions? We're here until I don't have any questions or I run out of topics to talk about. So let's go back. I have one more news story here that's really important for all the people with kids in school. Now, I've talked about it, and I've been the salesperson, right? Where I'm saying that St. Johns County has the #1 school district. It's this, it's that. I've also covered that there has been overcrowding in the schools. They're building schools. I think they have a plan to build 4 schools in the next 5 years here in St. Johns County, but it's the fastest growing county in the state. We also lost that #1 spot. We're not #1 anymore, guys. We're #2. So we're seeing some reactions. I mean, in my opinion, this is what happens when you have this type of growth, right? Like you can't sustain being the best all the time when you're growing like crazy and you're increasing class sizes, where class sizes were much more manageable for teachers. Now it's getting to the point where it's not. And this is an interesting news story here. Now, I don't want to play this video because it'll be long. But look at the headline here. St. Johns County School Board passes resolution to allow class sizes to go past the state limit. Okay. More and more students are flocking to St. Johns County, which is known for its top school district. It's putting a strain on resources. So they decided to increase what they can do. According to the most recent count, there were just over 50,000 students, about 2,000 more than last year, a 4% growth in class sizes. So state law says the class maximums are 18 students in pre-K through 3rd, 22 students in 4th through 8th, and 25 students in 9th through 12th. Starting next month, the school district will be able to add up to 3 new students in class grades PK through 3 and 5 new students to grades 4 through 12. So, I mean, that's all. I mean, if you're looking at 18 and 22, that's like a 15% increase in class sizes in there. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but a couple more kids, what's the big deal? I'm not a teacher, but I imagine that's a lot of stress. You got 3 additional kids in a smaller classroom, all next to each other, bugging each other, shooting spitballs at each other. The good times, right? The good times. All right. Sick of Jersey taxes. Yes, Jersey taxes. I'm going to a conference this weekend in San Antonio, Texas. And I follow all these guys on social media, and just look on Instagram at San Antonio, Texas, and the house that you get in Texas for the amount of money that you pay is ridiculous. You get the craziest house, like it's like a mansion. But the taxes there, I've heard, are like 2, 3, 4%, which is amazing. It's amazingly bad. It's not a good thing, but yeah. Either way, I'm going to San Antonio next week. Going to get some tacos. What is the latest news with rising property taxes? Yeah, so if you're looking to buy here in St. Johns County, or just in general, property taxes are going to be based off of the purchase price of the home, right? So, and taxes are reassessed whenever a buy and sell happens. So, whenever you buy a new property here in St. Johns County, assuming you're not already a primary residence here, which I know you said you're from Jersey, you're going to be subject to essentially the tax rate that is happening right then in the market value. So right now, taxes are around 1.4%. Depending where you are in the area of St. Johns County, that will change. Like if you're in St. Augustine, you're almost paying Jersey taxes. Like downtown St. Augustine, it's almost, and Davis Shores, the place I just talked about, you're at like 1.9% of your taxes. So of your purchase price. So if you buy a $500,000 house, it's almost $10,000 for taxes. So pretty quick. Did I do that right? Yep, I did that right. That's good math. Okay. So yeah, if you're looking to buy next summer, 2023, really depends on the purchase price. The property taxes are going to be put on the ballot, I believe, to be increased, which is happening in November. But it just depends on the purchase price, where you're buying. But it's more than likely going to be about 1.4% of purchase price. So, and then you can homestead the property depending on your age as well. You might get another exemption. There's other exemptions here in Florida, but the homestead exemption allows you to qualify for up to $50,000 off your taxable value, which is different from your property value. But I could spend another 20 minutes going in on that, but I hope that helped with your question there, Debbie. Thank you so much. Okay, not anything like here, Debbie. Love nature in the house. What's good? How we doing? Between HOA and taxes, we are almost the same as New Jersey taxes. Yeah, you're probably not off there if you're including the HOA, CDD. I mean, that can be $200 to $400 a month. So now, along with that, I think you get a little bit of a nicer amenities than what the cities in New Jersey might offer. I don't know. I love New Jersey. Okay, don't get me wrong. I have this conversation. I just had this conversation with one of my buyers, Julie and Sean, about how much I love New Jersey. And the negative New Jersey is the taxes. I mean, I think it's a great place, but I think this is my conspiracy theory on Jersey, guys. Let me know what you think. I think everyone from Jersey talks shit on Jersey, so they keep people from moving into Jersey. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let me know if I'm an idiot on that. But either way, let me know in the comments below to help me in the algorithm, right? But let me go back here, guys. Let me start doing some work, okay? So go here, share the screen. All right, now, now this is also something affects the taxes, right? So Summer Haven, which is a development where they're having some problems. It's an area locals know well where ocean water has pushed underneath some homes and toward the Matanzas River on the other side. So essentially, Mother Nature is claiming the land back, and the county told residents has spent more than $10 million since 2008 in addressing home erosion issues in the area. And I think they're not trying to do anything else. I've seen a couple other news stories about this, and they're just like, hey, county's bailed you out a couple times. Now, I feel bad for the people that live there. I mean, how do you know that's going to happen? But, I mean, it's also like double-edged sword. You buy on the wall. Potentially, you should expect to flood at some point, right? I mean, but to lose your entire house, that's another thing. It's tough to say. But taxpayers might be flipping the bill for that. We'll see. We shall see. Now, let's go on to Palm Coast here. Want to share. Let me take this off here. Sorry. This real quick. Yeah, guys, if you're tuning in, let me know where you're from, why you're thinking about moving to St. Augustine, or why it's on your radar, or if you're living here, what has you tuning into my show. Glad you're here. All right. So let me share this one more time. All right. Now, this is a big development here. I just had someone, I have a couple people interested in Palm Coast. And the development in Palm Coast is really, it's potentially on the verge of something really, really cool. So Palm Coast sees potential sports complex in undeveloped land west of US 1. They think it's going to be a catalyst to development. And honestly, I mean, Palm Coast is already developing. I think I have a news article here too, where it's just like they just approved another subdivision to go in there, and they're getting nicer and nicer. Whereas the subdivisions, they definitely have had some beautiful ones down there: Plantation Bay, Hammock Beach, the Plantation. They're all beautiful down there. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the newer stuff has just been kind of basic that they put in. Now, if they put in a sports complex, that would be something that would actually draw people to Palm Coast to maybe that, like in Daytona, I know they have the cheerleading event every single year. So people come from all over the country to compete in cheerleading in Daytona Beach. They can do the same thing if they're building baseball fields or soccer fields or something like that, to where like the best of the best kids are coming out here to play. They're travel baseball teams or something like that coming out here to a nice official stadium in Palm Coast. And that would be good for the people that live in Palm Coast, because then they can access it. I think that's a win. And when they say catalyst, I mean, yeah, Palm Coast needs something. It's got the beach. It's got some great mountain biking trails, but it's really kind of plain. And I wish it, it had more things to do, more entertainment, more restaurants. Give me a sec. My dog wants to get out now. Go ahead. But, all right, guys. Let me see here. What questions, what comments do we got? All right, let's see. You might have the best comment of tonight, guys. We got T-Bone Mar, Jersey fist pump your way to the top. My wife would love that comment. She's a Jersey fist pumper. Before it was cool, before the Jersey Shore made it cool, she was doing the poof up here. She had the leopard. I didn't know her then. We probably wouldn't have got along that well. But let's see here, Brian. Hey, buddy, I'm down here for my pre-drywall walkthrough at Rivertown. Wound up at A1A Ale Works, but there are certainly better places. What are your favorite restaurants in town? Brian, are you downtown St. Augustine? Because I think A1A Ale Works also has like a warehouse where they brew the beer. Both are cool places. But if you're looking to drink, which seems like you've got a good start on it, it really depends. You know, if you're looking to, it just depends on kind of person you are. I see, you know, we talked about sport bikes and stuff. So shot in the dark. It's tough. I would go to No Name. No Name's a good bar. White line, and it's a little bit, I can't say any age things because real estate laws and ethics and stuff. It's right across from the fort. It's got a beautiful view of the fort. If you're drinking beer, it's cheap. I think they got A1A Ale Works on tap over there. If you're looking for a cocktail, I would go over to Prohibition Kitchen, which is on St. George Street. Meehan's Irish Pub, also another good spot, which is right on the waterfront there. So if you're lucky, you can snag a front waterfront spot. Trade Winds, you're looking for live music pretty much every night. They got a band in there. And that's just your great classic bar of St. Augustine. I would say that place has been there forever. And I like it. My dad loves Trade Winds. Like like Trade Winds is the place you get a long sleeve shirt and it's got like girls with like their boobs out on it and stuff. My dad bought the shirt immediately. But great little place, great little bar. If you're looking for like a cocktail spot, don't know if you're in town with the significant other, the missus. Forgotten Tonic also is a nice little cozy spot. They have food there too, really cool. Food, sorry, I'm going on a rant here. Food, your downtown Harry's is great. River and Fort just opened. They have I was just talking to my buyers about it today. They have a steak, a New York strip stuff with shrimp. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. So much good food. Just looking for something easy. Pizza Time on St. George Street has the best pizza that I've ever had. Hands down. Lived in New York, lived in Jersey, lived in a lot of places. I've had really, really good pizza. Okay, guys? I think I know a little bit what I'm talking about, but you get the grandma slice at Pizza Time. Can't go wrong. It's really fantastic. Get a little cup of olives too. Oof, oof. Cash only. Yeah, I think that'll round it out there. I'll leave it at that. I hope that helped out, Brian. I hope your pre-drywall walkthrough is going okay. Did you get an inspector? I hope you did because you've been watching my videos, but hope you got an inspector to look out for things for you. Let me know in the comments below, Brian. All right, so T-Bone Mar, planning to move to St. Augustine. Jokes aside, your content is really helpful. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, T-Bone. Let me know if I can help you make the move. I'd love to be able to help out. Just reach out directly. You can set up a video appointment with me if you need any further assistance, man. I appreciate the love. Junevit 91 from North Miami Beach. Currently in the process of buying a townhome in St. Augustine. Managed to get one in a no flood zone area. Going to have a pre-drywall appointment tomorrow virtually. Dang, guys, what's going on? You guys just buying houses, getting pre-drywall inspections, not using me. I see how it is, but it's okay. Good for you. Where is your townhome located? Because townhomes here in St. Augustine, man, some of the new construction ones, the deals they're running, if you got a deal, let me know below. But I know like the townhomes, they're under 300,000, maybe low 300s if you're in the city of St. Augustine, and you can get them where D.R. Horton will buy down your interest rate to 5.99, and then they'll also pay for your closing costs, which is $10,000. So that's a sweet deal. This is a sweet deal. Any recommendations for wine tasting or wine tours? Yeah, if you just Google real quick, St. Augustine wine tours. They've actually won an award for like the best food and wine tour in the entire United States. So that should pop up pretty quickly. I'm almost positive it's called St. Augustine Food and Wine Tour. It's something so simple that like now I can't remember it, of course. But that's a great place to go. Cellar 39, another place. It's a cute little spot in like a courtyard area. Man, I'm missing one. I know I'm missing one downtown. Because they've just opened a couple actually. Man, it's right by Columbia, I think, and I'm missing it. It's on St. George Street though. If I think of it, I'll put it here. But that's a good spot to go for some wine. My old boss was a big wine head. John Whitesell. He runs Team Whitesell here in St. Augustine. Great real estate team, does commercial, residential here in the area. And he wasn't a big fan of the wine that they have here in St. Augustine. He said that they use muscadine grapes for the actual place where they make the wine in the St. Augustine winery. And he wasn't a big fan. So I don't know much about wine, not a big wine person, but I've heard that tour is really good, really, really good. So let's see here. The Conch House. Conch House is a solid place to go too. Yeah, solid place to go, definitely. Brian, very helpful. Thanks. Looking at the Bridge Alliance now. Prohibition Kitchen looks great. Yeah, the one thing of Prohibition Kitchen, killer food, killer cocktails, but you're just paying that price for it. Like you're paying Manhattan prices in St. Augustine. So I love it. My buddy used to work there. Man, you know what? That just reminds me. He just started working at another spot called Asado Life, right? Let me share this real quick, which I'm really excited about this here. So seems people care more about the food, the wine scene than the real estate scene, but hey, it is what it is, right? So let's see here. Asado Life, sharing my screen, right? All right, so just to give you an idea of where this is at. Now, there's a little controversy surrounding this restaurant because there are actually two restaurants here. It just opened like 2020. It might have been the end of 2020 it opened. And that it opened originally as Culinary Outfitters. They went out of business or shut down doors. I'm not sure if they went out of business, but shut down their doors because they had an issue with the parking situation there. So then another place opened, Otters on the Water. Apparently they had the same issue with the parking situation where they were sharing parking with the shipyard, but then the shipyard fought them on it, and then they went back and forth. Now they have Asado Life. Asado Life is there. They've apparently resolved the parking issue, and it's on the Matanzas River. So you get great views, and you can pull up with your boat. They got the shipyard right there, so you can even dock your boat. They have an app where you can just like, hey, I want to take my boat out now. And they'll come drop your boat, set it up for you and everything. Very, very cool. So I'm excited about this place, but let me give you some visuals of it. Now, what this place is supposed to be is more of a ticketed event. So they're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe Sunday. So 4 days a week. So it's also in a way to save them money, but also give their employees a little bit of a day off because they're going to be doing some pretty crazy events. This is a beautiful location. It looks pretty much the same as it was in Culinary Outfitters, but they're gonna have these big wood-fired grills outside, and they're going to be doing ticketed events. Let me go here to the website just so you have a better idea where it is. Okay, I cannot find it. Let's see. They definitely have a website because I've been to it. Here we go. So they do ticketed events where there's like courses and meals, and you can choose which one you want, whatever experience you want to choose. So they have waterfront asado club, inside dining, bar cruderie where you get charcuterie, sit at the bar. So let's just take a look at bar cruderie. It's probably the cheapest one there. Let's see. Maybe I'll give you a price here before I book. Okay, let's just book it. Let's go. Book now. Let's go. All right. Boom, 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 boom. 2 guests. Oh, wow. So they've really upgraded this a good bit. So you got 59 per person. You got 89 per person. Okay. So and it's all reservations, guys. So I'm actually really excited about that. There's no place like it here in St. Augustine. And I think that luxury higher end market is really going to be satisfied in that, in what that's who I think their target is. No one's going to be paying $85 that's not in that market probably, unless they're having a nice night out for a dinner date night or something like that. But I think that's going to be a really cool place. If you can get a ticket to that while you're in town, you may as well do it, live it up. I've yet to go there. My buddy's working as a bartender there. So he was at Prohibition Kitchen, pretty much running the show over there. Now he's moving over to Sato Life, helping out with the team. So let's see here. I got more comments, guys. Like I said, you have any questions about town? I'm going to add that in. You have any questions about living here in St. Augustine, like what to do? Let me know. I'll answer them in the comments. If you have questions about real estate, here for that as well. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m., we're doing this. So let me know in the comments below. We got Debbie here. If paying cash on a home in St. Augustine, how much should we expect to pay for closing costs? Like $1,000 to $2,000 bucks. It's really not much. You have your inspection costs and you have like title transfer and stuff like that. It's really not much. So I would say $1,000 to $2,000 bucks. But yeah, let's see. T-Bone Mar. We'll reach out when we have things lined up. Interested in finding something in a low flood risk area. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, so a low flood risk area is just going to be somewhere. Just depends also with your what do you consider low flood, right? But flood zone X is going to be the main thing. It's actually not. It's pretty easy to figure that out, right? So anyone can do it. I'll make a point to leave it here, and I do this for every person. Whenever you buy a property with me, whenever you put an offer in on a property, you get all this information. And I go a little bit above most agents, at least I think I do, because I was trained by Team Whitesell, which John is the man. He knows everything about this game. So over here, contract, right? So I got all the things I include in my contract. I go right down here to the FEMA flood map because I include it with everyone, so you know. And also, if years pass, your house floods, you don't tell me that I didn't tell you that you're in a flood zone. So let's use... let's see. 212. Oh man, what's that address? I'm missing it. I just had someone text me about it today. One of my buyers, and now here we go. Why did I say Keenan? I was thinking Marine. Oof. All right, so we're just talking about Davis Shores, the flooding issues in Davis Shores. I'm going to go check out this house to make sure there wasn't any flood issues for my buyers. But it's loading right now. This should show that it is in a flood zone. But it is loading right now, so we're going to have to wait for it to get to that point. But the main thing is that you can go right to this website right here, and I'm just going to stop sharing my screen until it figures itself out. But the main thing here is that you can go right to the FEMA website. You can type in whatever address. It doesn't have to be in Florida. It could be wherever, and it'll tell you what the FEMA flood map is. So that's going to be, and that updates as well. That changes. So it's not something that stays constant. So you can always check it, and you can check where your house is. So get on there, pop in a couple different places. You have a property you're really interested in. If we're viewing property and you want to buy one, I'm going to give you this information, or I'll know, just depends, but I'll give you both either way. And it's still not loading. Let me try refreshing the screen, see what happens. And sometimes that website does act screwy just like this, and especially when you're trying to get things done, it'll do that just when you're writing a contract. Okay. What I'm seeing is that days on market increases. Agents are going into Zillow, Redfin, et cetera, and changing from 25 days to 4. It's a trend. Days on market are increasing. That is a fact. They are increasing. I think they're at 34 days now, which is still really, really low. That's still not a long time at all for a home to be on the market. Whereas like before, it was like 2 to 3 months. So pretty. Still, it is trending that direction, right? But I honestly think like if interest rates trend back downwards, we might see that go the opposite way again. I don't know. Who knows what happens with these interest rates? We'll see. A lot of pressure on the Fed, John. We talk about this. A lot of pressure on the Fed right now. We'll see how they move. We will see how they move. All right, Anthony S. Closer to I-95, mostly no flood zone. Yeah, you're pretty much good over at I-95. But if you're backing up to like a body of water, it's potential. But that's really few and far between over there. So if you're over by I-95, you shouldn't have any problem with a flood zone. But um, don't hold me liable. Don't hold me to that. We'll definitely research it whenever you come into town. Oh, that's Anthony. Sorry, I'm answering two different questions here. My mistake, Anthony. Yeah. Oh, he's saying that closer I-95 is in flood zone. Yes, you're correct, Anthony. T-Bone check out Grand Oaks just off 95. Debbie, shout out to Debbie. Grand Oaks new construction community. They got Pulte in there. I think they got Dries in there, and they also have how am I losing this one? It's the main one in there. Toll Brothers in there. Toll Brothers has a gated community in there. I think they're starting in probably the sixes, 5 and 6s. But that's right off of 16 and 95. I don't think that's in a flood zone. Most of these new construction communities, what they actually do, I'll show you something really cool here. What these new construction communities will do is whenever they build out a development, they propose it. A lot of times they dig up all the stormwater retention ponds that you see. So all the ponds pretty much in these new construction places are man-made. They dig up the ponds. They use that fill to level out the rest of the land where they're going to build the homes. So the homes sit much higher. And by creating that stormwater management program where you have the drainage system that goes into the little ponds, you can effectively raise yourself out of a flood zone. So you know what? The FEMA flood map's not loading, so that is annoying. But it'll show you actually where the flood map will allow you to get a letter of map asset reallocation, which is short form is called LOMAR. So Parkland Preserve, a 55 plus new construction community right off of 95. They filed for a LOMAR. They paid for their pretty much everyone in their community that bought with them in the first year or so. They paid for their flood insurance for the first couple of years, because after that, the LOMAR went into effect and it was raised into flood zone X. So they didn't have to pay for flood insurance any longer. But Debbie, shout out to helping T-Bone out. I love the collaboration here. Also, not a fan of an HOA. I just saw a great little house out there in Rural Golf Village. In that area where it was for $290,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it sat on 0.75 acres. I thought that was pretty nice because you're not finding much of that at all these days. Okay, so how usually means great amenities. HOA usually means great amenities. Yeah, so the HOAs here, I just did a home tour today with a couple, and really a lot of them, it comes down to the neighborhood, right? With the feel of the neighborhood. And it comes down to the amenities, really the caliber of the amenities. Pretty much every amenity center has a pool, right? But how nice is that pool? And each place offers a little bit of a different spot. But if you're not about amenities or HOAs, I understand that. Actually, I have a video coming out, should be tomorrow, or actually it'd probably be Friday, about St. Augustine South, where I also have a new listing coming out. Should be on the market tonight. 914 Prince Road. It's going to be listed just under $400,000. You're in a no HOA neighborhood. This home's 1,600 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, backs up to county-owned land. So they're not going to be able to build there. So it backs up to like a little nature preserve. It's amazing. It's great. So unfortunately, my YouTube buyers had to sell. They had to move, but happy for them. But guys, here, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I think I have one more news story here that I want to cover. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You guys have been great so far. Thank you so much for showing up here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. with all your questions. For the guys here that are going under contract and that are moving forward in this market and taking my recommendations, though you're not using me. I'm a little hurt on that. I understand. Not for everyone. It's fine. But shout out to you for being here and also using my tips. So I hope you guys use an inspector. Man, it's almost like you talk to your kid. I hope you guys use protection. Use an inspector. Oh my God, maybe I should make a parody on that for like social media. That might be funny. All right, sorry, I'm rambling on. I'm talking, but let me go here. Share my screen. Um, this one is interesting. Jacksonville's business environment puts it in top 10 at drawing foreign business, study shows. So the level of aftercare Jacksonville provides foreign companies looking to expand the U.S. makes it one of the best positioned cities in the U.S. to draw foreign investment. New research from Financial Times and Nikkei shows. Jacksonville came in at number 8 on a study that rated cities' economic, regulatory, and social characteristics through the lens of overseas business. So, guys, what do you think about that? I mean, we all know that Jacksonville has really been slept on for years. And being someone that's lived here for a while, downtown Jacksonville, they were talking about doing something forever downtown. Now things are starting to move along a little bit, and some really high-end places are starting to go in there, like the Shipyard. You look up the Shipyard online, what they want to do over there is going to be amazing. And I mean, for people like John, like a boater, like leave your boat docked up there, go in your condo, hang out, go to a Jags game, go down to the landing, go on the Riverwalk. All these things that are being proposed for the city could make that area down there so beautiful. It has so much potential, but we're just waiting on it to happen. And in these past couple of years, those things have started to happen. And now it's starting to grow into a bigger metropolitan area, whereas before it really wasn't even on the map when you were talking about major metropolitan areas in the United States. No one was talking about Jacksonville when you're talking about Florida. You're talking about Tampa, Orlando, and Miami. Now Jacksonville is pretty much on everyone's radar. I know I'm here in St. Augustine, but we do feed a lot off of Jacksonville. I still work in Jacksonville. I like to only go an hour away, just so you guys know. But if you do need help north of Jacksonville, like Middleburg, something like that, where it's necessarily out of the area I cover, I can definitely get you a good agent. So if you have any questions about those areas, don't be shy. I'm here to help. So guys, I think that's my last one. I don't see any other questions flying by here. So it was great here tonight, guys. We're rolling in at 41 minutes. So I don't think that's a record. I might have done a little bit longer before, but that might be the second best. So I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I see we got 9 people in the chat. So if you do have any questions about, what's going on here, or like you have a question about living here, the food here, the amphitheater, the beach, real estate, this is what I do, let me know, because I'm here, but I see 10 people here. Wow, we're growing. You guys, this is amazing. Touching my heart now. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to hang out here I got one more news story here, okay? I'm going to share the screen. All right, one more news story, unless you guys have questions. So if you do, fire them off, because I'm here to answer them. But after this, I'm definitely going to get some Culvers. I've been out on appointments all day long, and I'm going to wreck my body with some fast food. Let's go. Okay, so we're talking about Palm Coast, right? Palm Coast is developing, guys. I mean, this is right off of 95 here. You're seeing Flagler County planning board moves forward with 2 new developments. One development located on A1A in the northern part of the county, and one off of 95. They're moving forward with it. And this is something that we're hearing a lot here in the area, right? Development is happening, and it's happening pretty much all over. A lot of people are saying it's being too developed. Now, I've lived in a major city. I know it's not too developed, but I don't know. That's how I feel, at least. We're nowhere near that. You drive around 95, pretty much south of 16 on 95 is all woods all around it, and pretty much US 1 south of 206 is pretty much all woods until you get to Palm Coast, and there's like a gas station, and then it's pretty much all woods again from that point. So I think there's a lot of room for expansion. I'm not trying to say destroy everything, put homes everywhere, buy stuff, sell stuff with me, but I definitely think people are exaggerating just a tad when it comes down to the development here in the area. People are moving here. 8,000 people are moving to Florida every single day. And we happen to be a affordable area. We're not getting hit with hurricanes we are, but not as hard as other places. And St. Augustine's a cool little town, so we got a lot going for us here. We're close to everything, People are going to keep moving. What areas flooded in the last storm? T-Bone, that is a fantastic question. So I'll go switch over to the map here real quick. And it's going to be the areas that we pretty much cover here. Now, let's see. Oops. I do this sometimes, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen. All right. So, all right. So I could pretty much just say like this entire area here that's pretty much highlighted, which is downtown St. Augustine. That's probably close to where flooding is. Whenever you're close to the water like this, flooding is going to happen. Let me see if the FEMA flood map loaded. Didn't load yet. Come on. What the heck? This thing. Unbelievable. All right, I'm going to refresh it one more time. Maybe we can flop back to it and it'll be right. But all the flooding down here, they have a lot of problems with Lincolnville. If you look up, I have a couple of live streams where I actually talk about the flood mitigation that I'm talking about for, I think it's Lake Maria here. I think that's what they call it. No, Lake Maria Sanchez is right there. So they're talking about mitigating flood area. Pretty much all this area right here by US 1 on the water. You have to watch out for flooding. Now, I have a couple friends that live uptown, and they haven't had an issue with the flooding yet. Now, they live in a house that was built in like 1937, and it's been that entire time, so I think they're okay, more uptown over here. But there definitely is still some flooding when you're getting around US 1, but he's more in the center of uptown. Now, there are stretches in Lincolnville, just over MLK, where it is actually flood zone X, but that's the only area really where it is flood zone X. It's almost the center road. It actually used to be Center Street in downtown, but they renamed it MLK. Davis Shores, this area over here, south of A1A, is the area we were just talking about where they put T111 around the inside of the walls because it's so common to have flooding in that area. Definitely happens there. Let's zoom out here. I had a buddy who lives in St. Augustine South. He said he was all good. He lives pretty close to the water, but water was definitely creeping up on that road, that's for sure. And we had the king tide at the same time. So when you have king tide, which means like the moon and the sun correlate to make the freaking highest water ever, and then you have the hurricane come, you're going to have flooding, that's for sure. Now, my grandma lives over here. So she lives here in Treasure Beach. Right on the intercoastal. She lives in a double wide trailer with a skirt around, so it's about 2 feet up. But she's got the skirt around. On one side of her house, I could see about that much of a water line, which is great because her house wasn't affected at all. It just hit the skirt. And then also the shed, which sits probably about that high up on the other side of the house, that actually flooded. Some neighbors had some flooding, but I don't think it was anything too major, just a little bit of water inside. But they were more on the canal section. Interestingly enough, they flooded before my grandma did. I also have someone who just bought a home right over here in Ocean Trace, and they were texting me during it, and I was worried about it because they're right on the intercoastal, and the picture they sent me, they have water come right up to their bottom steps. So when you're living right on the water, that's just something that you have to factor in, that Mother Nature is going to do what it's going to do. There's no one that can prevent it. They evacuated Anastasia Island, the barrier islands, pretty much. My grandma got evacuated. She stayed with me here. And some people choose not to go, and that's totally fine, but that's pretty much the point where they're like, hey, you got to wait till after the storm passes before anyone's coming. So you're just making a choice at that point. Floridians are hard, though. Us Floridians, we're real hard. We throw parties during Category 3 storms. East of US 1, risky for floods. Yeah, pretty much what I just covered here. So, yeah, guys. Well, hey, we're rounding it out here. We're at 50 minutes. We got 10 viewers. You guys are awesome. I'm here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. going over the local market stats, going over the news that you guys need to know about if you're living, eating, sleeping, or thinking about moving here to St. Augustine or investing in our area or Jacksonville, Palm Coast, whatever. You guys know the deal. And also doing the question and answering. So if you guys have any questions, always leave them in the comments below. I'm here to answer them. Have any additional questions, need any further assistance, reach out to me directly. Call, text, email. You know. Thanks for the answers. No problem, T-Bone. Shout out to you guys. Let's do a shout out real quick. Shout out to T-Bone. Shout out to Debbie. Shout out to John. Let's see here. What else we got here? Brian. Brian, shout out to you, man. You didn't buy a house with me, but you are a contributor in the comments, and I love you for it. So, shout out to you. Junevit, same to you. Same to you. You contributed. All right. Love nature, as always. Appreciate you being here. Looking forward to meeting you. Guys, if you keep Anthony, I know you've been here before, but I don't know. We were hot and heavy earlier, so we were getting to joking and stuff. But Anthony, thank you for being here. Either way, guys, have a great night. Take it easy. I'll talk to you later.